T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man,
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
exclusive. Oh,
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with
you are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'm your boy MJ. What is good, everybody? How are you guys doing? Happy Sunday. Holy crap. What a day it's been. Shout out to all my early birds. I see you guys in the building, man. But if this is your first time tapping in, what is good? Do your boy a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. That way you're on top of every single podcast that I drop here on the Trap Talk with MJ podcast YouTube channel. Shout out to everyone who listens to me on the other platforms, by the way. Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Shit, man, those platforms blow up. I just got to say, if you listen to me on those platforms, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on those platforms as well. But yes, man, I'm very excited about tonight's episode. You know how we get started though on this channel. For the freshest and bestest rodents delivered to your doorstep, Cold Blooded Cafe is the #1 answer to that. Go to their website, $30 flat rate shipping. Shout out to Desiree, shout out to Steven. Then shout out to John and Alex over at Sim Container. If you got eggs, put them inside of the Sim box. The proof is inside the Sim box, man. And shout out to, I want to say heavy shout out to Ashley and Steven over at Focus Cube Habitats. Go give them a follow on Instagram. They have amazing stuff going on with their enclosures. Flex in Texas all day, every day. Shout out to the leading stainless steel rack company in the industry altogether, Freedom Breeder. Shout out to Jesse and the entire Freedom Breeder crew. Thank you so much for all the support. Shout out to the big dog himself, always evolving pythons. My boy Miguel Garcia leading the hobby in so many different things. It's ridiculous, and he's just really one inspiring fucking individual. It's my boy Miguel Garcia. Go give him a follow on Instagram. Shout out to the whole AP family. Shout out to my boy Alan, Amazing Basins. If you're into basins, go give him a follow on Instagram right now and go see what he's working with. Also into some ball python projects that I feel like he's really going to break the game with. So give my boy Alan a follow on Instagram as well. Thank you so much for your support. It's my big bro right there. Shout out to Blake Stewart over at Stewart Design. If you're looking to elevate your brand and you want to market yourself to the fullest extent, then you're going to want to go to stidentity.com and go talk to my boy Blake Stewart over at Stewart Design. Him and his team are on a professional level for sure, and they've helped many people in this industry, and they're going to continue to help people. And I'm excited to work with Blake in the near future. Excuse me. And then, yes, shout out to Rami and the Reptile Super Show. Sickest show on the West Coast by far. Love going to super shows. If you are ever in the area or if you live in the area, whenever there's a Reptile Super Show, please go make that a priority and then hang out with me at the US ARC auctions that go down at the Reptile Super Show. And then, yes, NARBCs, man, if you're into this hobby and you've only gone to reptile super shows and have not made it to an NARBC, you're cutting yourself short. And that goes the other way around too. If you've only gone to NARBCs and not reptile shows, I mean, you guys got to be going to both. But I can tell you right now, you have to go to an NARBC. That's where it all connects. That's where all the plugs happen. I'm telling you right now, man, I've met so many sick-ass people in this industry, made ridiculous relationships in this industry, all because of NARBC and Reptile Super Show. So shout out to Rami, and then shout out to Brian Potter and Bob Ashley, NARBC, the Super Bowl of shows. It's awesome. Cannot wait for the next one. Shout out to Phil Goss over at US Arc. Continue the fight, man. It's never going to stop, guys. Please go down to the link below. Read up if you have no idea what US Arc is, and definitely go become a member and join the team. Also, if you guys can, US Arc just started a YouTube channel. Go over to US Arc's YouTube channel and subscribe to US Arc's YouTube channel. That way you can even stay more informed on YouTube. So it's pretty awesome. Appreciate you, Phil Goss. Appreciate everything you guys do. And I want to say, if you want to follow my work, if you want to see what I got going on other than podcast stuff, go give me a follow on mjexoticscartal with an A, not an E. I post a lot of my passion projects on there, and then I have my ball python, stock that I produce and put up for sale on Instagram. Very active on Instagram. So if you ever want to get a hold of me or just see what I'm just. Okay, I don't know why I just muted. Anyways, so yeah, go check that out. And then shout out to all my Twitch viewers. Twitch viewers going up. I appreciate anyone who follows me on Twitch. If you have Twitch, please go give me a follow on Twitch. Much love. If you'd like to support this channel more than a subscription, more than a like or comment, and I appreciate all that, you can send me any donation you like to Exotics Cartel with an A, not an E. And then any super chats that you throw out in this episode. If you have a question for my man Shane, don't be shy, man. Throw out a super chat. I don't care if it's $1 or $2, because no matter what the amount is, it gets sent over to US Art. So don't be shy with the super chats. It's Sunday. Let's be giving. No, but honestly, guys, I appreciate all the love. Listen, Patreon, my family members, thank you so much. I love my Trap Talk Patreon family members so much. We get together every Sunday right after the podcast is. So, like, for instance, tonight, 6 o'clock, we're going to be getting together. And if you're out there looking to become a part of something more than what you're a part of now, and if you want to meet more people, if you want to learn about more stuff, then you're going to want to go down to the link below and join the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you join, I send you a Discord link, and then you tap in with all the trappers. It's fucking just constant fucking activity going on in the Discord. So many different channels, so many different things to learn and gain from. So first and foremost, shouts on my Patreon members. I love you guys. You guys are my heart. And then if you want to become a Patreon member, if you want to support this channel, or if you want to just become a Trap family member and go to Trap Fest 2022, then go down to the link right now and become a Patreon trapper, man. I appreciate all the love. You guys are amazing, man. But what is good? Oh yeah, hold on. I got to remember to keep plugging this, because guess what? I've started another YouTube channel. I'm going to say this almost every episode now, because it's not easy. Some of you motherfuckers just forget to subscribe, and I'm going to just keep shouting it out as much as I need to. So guess what? Am I good? Can you guys hear me? All right. I don't know why that keeps getting unplugged. That's weird. Do me a favor. Do your boy a favor. Head over to YouTube right now, and then go up to the search bar and type in the Snake Trap Sessions vlogs. Okay. Snake Trap Sessions vlog. Hit that subscribe button right there. Okay. Right where it says subscribe. I'm going to just show you guys every single time until we get it right. That's red button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Boom. That way you're on top of every single vlog that I drop. I'm dropping 2 vlogs a week, so I'm going to be very active on here. And as you can see, I already dropped a 3-part facility tour of Reptile. So if you haven't already, go over there and check it out, because like I said, I'm putting in mad work when it comes to the vlogs, and no more vlogs are going to be being put out on this channel. It's all going to be being put out on the Snake Trap Session Vlogs YouTube channel. So go get it followed, go subscribe it, and I appreciate it. But who's here, man? What is good with the early birds? Early birds in the building. Let's see. Oh, the homie Blunt Man Reptiles. What is good? Thanks for being here. Trap Talk family member all day, every day. Homegirl Chantel. What is good? Team Zoo Dreams in the building. Thanks for being here, homegirl. I appreciate it. The homie Bod's Exotics. Trap Talk family member all day, every day. Thanks for being here. So Radical Red Ticks and Monitors. What is good? Thanks for being here. Damn, Uncle Mike Stefani. What's up, buddy? Thanks for being here, Uncle Mike in the building. Eric's More Factory, what is good? Thanks for being here. Wes Carter, what is good? Thanks for being here. Heathen Hatchery, what is good? Thanks for being here. The homie John Wilcox, what's up, homie? Thanks for being here, John. Triple G in the building. Another Team Zoo Dream member in the house. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. The homie Julio Fulio, what's up, Julio? Thanks for being here. Damn, the big homie JK Reptiles in the building. What's up, homie? Appreciate the homie Jake. It's a good guy right there. The homie Matt Summers. What's good, Matthew Summers? Are you with the lady? Are you with your chick? Matthew has a girlfriend now. It's pretty amazing. We got Norway in the building. What is good? Thanks for tapping in, Norway. I knew I felt some European vibe in the chats. Arthiz, what is good? Trap Talk family member all day, every day. Thanks for tapping in. Joanna, what is good? Joanna, thanks for tapping in. Wise Guy, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. Beast Morphs, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. The homie Big E in the building. By the way, tomorrow, new Breeder on the Block series. We got my boy Big E and his wife Ivory in the building. So make sure you guys go down to the link below, click on that link, and set your reminder for tomorrow's new Breeder on the Block. I can't wait, Matt. It's going to be a good episode. But yeah, shout out to my Big E and Ivory. Thanks for being here. D's Balls, what is good? Thanks for being here, player. Me and the homie Dylan got something exciting going on next month. About to go down. Thanks for being here. Oh, the homie Rami, what do you know? Salute the big dog. Thank you so much. One of the industry leaders. I appreciate you so much, dog. Thank you. The homie Marlon in the building. What is good? Mason Johnson, what is good? Trap Talk family. By the way, damn, these bong rips are just getting to my throat now. That's what she said. Dylan right there, Trap Talk family member. So is Marlon. These are all trappers, day one trappers. I appreciate your guys' support so much. Tag Reptiles, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. And yeah, let's go. I think we're going to end on Tag Reptiles. All right, guys. Happy Sunday indeed. You know, I like to dedicate Sundays to the monitors. You know, a lot of lizard love is really what I like to do Sundays for. But at the end of the day, it's for whatever I want to do. You know, this guy right here, I feel like has his hands tapped in with many different species other than snakes, you know, but I do feel like his big passion with what he does is the snakes, but I want to find out more. I do want to say the biggest reason why I'm excited to have this guy on the show right now is because I only found out about him through somebody I'm highly like my biggest mentor in the game, you know, and I brought him on the show already. He was my first Sunday guest, my boy Kenny. Shout out to my boy Kenny. Anytime he tells me that, hey, yo, you should look into this guy, I listen, and I'm excited for this, man. But either way, it's my boy Shane, SC Constrictors in the motherfucking building. What's up, Shane?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. Kind words. I appreciate it.
I'm excited, bro. Honestly, you earned those words based off of what I can hear, and honor to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's cool to be on, man. I've watched your show. I know quite a few people that have been on here, so it's an honor to be on. I appreciate it.
How you living? How's everything going? And where are you from again, if you can remind me? Where are you living out of?
So I'm outside of Chicago, just a little bit west of Chicago. I'm like an hour north of the Tinley show.
Still cold, right?
Freezing. It was snowing yesterday.
Oh,
terrible.
I got snakes that are supposed to go to Chicago, and they're just here, you know, like these people bought them, right? Like they bought them in like November, and I'm just like, well, I guess I'm sitting on these for like 5 months. At least.
Yeah, that's the hard part. We're still a little bit too cold for normal business, so it sucks. A couple more weeks, we'll be okay.
All right, so Shane, I'm so curious because I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't know enough about you. I mean, I know the stuff I feel like that you put out the most, but I know you're tapped into some really cool, awesome animals. So kind of give us a little background as far as what you work with and how long you've been working with this stuff for.
So just for age, I'm 35. So I can't get on here and be like, I've been in this for 50 years, 40 years. You know, there's a lot of people that have been in this forever. You know, the guys me and you looked up to growing up. So
right.
Being 35, I've got, I would say at the very least, serious 15 to 18 years. And then I've had reptiles, obviously. My first picture is, 4, 5, 6 years old reptiles. Wow. So like most people in this now, they've been in it their whole life as a hobby, as pets, and then as soon as they could get more professional, they took that step. So, right. I would say by 20 years old, I was already living on my own with my girlfriend at the time at 19. At that point is when I started getting very serious, and then obviously building from there. So,
Wow.
I could 15 years at least. And most of all that, I mean, pretty much all of that is focused on retics. I've had probably every species of python pretty much, except for maybe a couple. I've bred most of those that I've kept. And then, really stayed a focus on retics pretty much this entire time.
And I'm not going to lie, man, if no matter what level you are, as far as what age you're brought into this, I mean, I feel like if you for being cut out for retics, you're definitely cut from a different cloth, like a OG cloth that is really, I don't want to say it's no longer really around, but I mean, there's this, my heart goes out to OG retic keepers just because of the way retics are looked at right now. The way, a price of a retic is just basically disrespectful now. And it sucks because these damn things pop more than a ball pythons do, and you have ball pythons just being sold for thousands, and retics can be sold for $300. Not yours. I'm just saying, just for some people, So, I mean, but either way, I had my hands tapped into the retics for a good amount of time, to where I raised them to where I had them for adults for about a year or two. And I realized how much work goes in to having big snakes. It's it's cute and all fun when they're babies, right? But once they get to that size where, you know what I'm saying, once they get that big, it's a chore and a half. So
it's a whole day event. I mean, cleaning just one stack of adults the right way turns into like a whole, half a day, afternoon working on just maybe 5 snakes sometimes.
So I mean, I'm curious, Shane, like, what retics did you start working with? Like, did you start working with like F1 type shit, or like, what were you like getting your hands in when it came to you starting with your retic foundation?
So, back then, and of course, considering I'm in the, 18, 19, 20 range, I wasn't really spending an extreme amount of money, like getting in on a major high level. So like with most people, we didn't have a ton of options. So you start off with an albino, you start off with a normal head albino and a tiger. And that's, kind of where you started. And a lot of that was whatever you could find on King Snake, back in the day, or at a local reptile show if there was anything. Right. So, I started with pretty bland stuff in the very beginning, but that was still when it was more of just, I guess you consider just a hobby at that point, just for fun. But once I started to decide that I'm going to really do this real serious, that was probably the year 2000. No, about 2004, 2003, 2004, because some of the first snakes I bought as like a higher investment were just a pair of normal het for albino and a pair of tiger het albinos that were like from the year 2000 or 1999s. So, it started very, very slow, very small. Just had to get my foot in the door, just with whatever I could really get my hands on at that point to get me started.
What year was your first retic clutch?
So that's year really everything changed. 2012. That was the first year.
Okay.
Yeah, 2012.
And then that year, did you just have that one clutch, or did you have multiple clutches? Like what all went on in your first year when you had a retic clutch?
So we'll go back to like 2009. We'll do that. That was the year I decided that 100% I have to go as hard as I can in this, and just like you're not going to learn to drive a car sitting in park. You got to just start going. So I looked over the whole board of retics, everything I could get, all the genes and everything, and I picked what I really loved, what I really wanted. As most people would be surprised, obviously, is Sunfires. So back then, cherry picking was still a real common term. You cherry pick what you want out of the clutch, for a little extra money. So I did that. I got a female Sunfire that was 50% het albino, and then I picked out a Sun Tiger male, 50% het albino.
Right.
And just, I thought I had a good idea of what looks or what colors to look for to see what would prove out. I got them in 2009, raised them. I also had a purple tiger at the time. Those were like my 3 founding animals, you know, to really get me started on all this. I bred that pair, and that clutch, both parents proved out had albino. They were het for purple albino, which is obviously the most sought after retic still, you know, to this day, as far as albinism goes, you know, or what different strains of albino we have. Purple still is the leader all these years later. But that first clutch kind of gave me a really, really fast running start. I hit a world first in that clutch. I hit a very extreme paradox in that clutch. You know, I made a lot of snakes that I like probably wasn't even ready to really make, you know. But I hatched all that, and I kept a lot of it back because I hatched so many different things that were a lot higher level than what I thought I was going to make. So I kept a bunch. That was the very first clutch. And the second clutch, I'd been breeding that same male to the purple tiger female. Well, he proved out het purple in the meantime. So now that second clutch was even better than what I had anticipated it being. So that first year turned into just blew the doors open. You know, I lost a lot of friends that year, unfortunately. But that I'm sure we'll bring up later on. But that's kind of the hard truth. You know, new guy on the scene, my first pair. You know, I earned my keep, though. I raised them from hatchlings. I did it the right way. I took my time. You know, some that'll come up, or at least I wanted to say early on. It sucks that a lot of times my confidence gets mistaken as like arrogance, you know, or cockiness. It's really not that way, you know. It just I've earned my keep along the way.
Listen, it's kind of like, it reminds me of this. I used to get not really shitted on, but I used to get bad looks because I was always that guy to fucking bring in the 2 runs when we needed it during baseball, and I would just shit on the fucking ball. You know what I mean? And yep. I just had a pep in my step because I knew I was that good at baseball during that era. I'm talking like high school and shit. You know what I mean? Like obviously, once you, but you know, but like, I don't know. I've always had that, you know, it's not really arrogance. I just had that confidence help me get the job done. If I didn't feel that way, if I didn't have that going into it, then I didn't have a really good game, or like I had a, you know, like you talk shit into existence. You know what I mean? Like you say, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to fucking do this. And that's it. And by having that meant like, I'm going to, like, nothing's going to stop me. And some people take it as arrogance. I don't give a fuck. I get the job done. I don't care what you say. You know what I'm saying? So
that's, you hit it on the head. You know, that's really what it is. You know, I've made a lot of bold statements.
Yeah.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, you know, let's call it back to 2012, that year of what I made and what I said I would continue to make and continue to do. And 10 years later, you know, I could look back and tell you, you know, I said I was going to do these things. I meant it, you know, and, but that comes with a lot of weight, a lot of responsibility too. I made those statements, and I make a promise to myself. I've got to live up to that, you know, in all these different breeding projects.
That's why at the end of the day, like the way competition is to a guy like you is your own competition. Like you don't have anyone else you give a fuck about except your own word. And that's what drives you. That's what drives me. I hate to be that person, especially at this point. You know what I mean? If I'm going to go so hard on something, best believe I'm going to write it out, and I'm going to make sure I fucking live up to what I'm saying. Cause I'm definitely somebody who, like, I'm so drawn away from like people who talk all this shit and don't back it up. And that's big in the hobby. You see a lot of people put a persona that they're really not. And it's like, and it's like, what the fuck, you know? But that's not everybody, but there is a good percentage of that, you know? And it's like, I just like get the fuck out of the way with that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, go ahead.
You got to cut those people out of your program. Usually, you know, the people that just it's a lot of talk, but not a lot of work to back it up, to make it worth it. But
Right.
Going back to, the startup, like I said, the first year was like a massive year. And to do what I wanted to do, I had to like one up that and progressively do better than that every year. I didn't want to stay still. I didn't want to just stay stagnant and just keep a pace. I wanted to climb, so that next year, 2013, you remember Andy? I'm sure Andy Dietz from Nerd. He was there forever. Kevin and I and Andy, we got pretty close, really close, really quick. Me and Andy talked in like the old, like Cold-Blooded forums, the old Bob Clark forums, King Snake forums, like all that stuff way back. So, Andy came on as kind of like one of my he was a big mentor to me, really got in my ear and I spent a lot of time listening to him, and we took a couple trips to Nerd, did our thing up there. You been up to Nerd?
No, I haven't.
Crazy time. But I got into the Orange Ghost Stripe in 2013. That's where the story was kind of going. So 2013, I got my first real big, real high-end animal in retics. That was the first year to really get a big recessive in my projects. So I immediately started working on double recessives with, ball pythons, you keep 30 hatchlings from a season, no big deal.
Right.
Trying to get anywhere in double recessives with retics it's insane work. It's insane.
Right.
The amount of animals you got to keep to really get yourself there is crazy. So, but I took a big bite and I was willing to chew on it and work on it and do it. So 2013 was the first year I put that recessive gene into purple albino and into sunfire. And then that just pretty much climbed from there.
So what I'm curious about right now, Shane, is first let's go back to when things were great for the retic market, and then as soon as that turn happened where the value just started tanking on retics.
Yeah.
What did that do to your production? Like, did you slow down production? I mean, did you I'm just curious what somebody in your position did during that time.
It was an interesting time, but it was also it was kind of like a big clean out.
Right.
You had a lot of people that really weren't in it for the right reason left. They just dumped their collections, fucking gave stuff away, got rid of it, sold it, whatever they could do, and they were gone. And almost like they were gone from the whole industry. Like I never really saw a lot of the people that left branch off to different species or something.
Right.
So while there were so many people bailing out, I saw a good opportunity to really grow. So I just stuck to my guns. I stuck to my projects. I stuck to what I was doing. If anything, I filled that gap, and I kind of upped. I'd say I upped my production, actually. I saw an opportunity. So, I took it and I stuck to it.
So with the retics being what they are to you from 2000, I don't know, mid 2000s. When did you start 2000? When did the retics become like a breeding for you again? 2012, right? Or
2012 was the first physical year of hatching, but like 2009, when I picked up that initial group, was probably when it got serious.
So, and then I also, one thing that drew me to your account also after Kenny told me about you was the monitor work that you do. You have these amazing, I guess they're albinos or whatnot, but I mean, when did you start tapping with these monitors, and how's that going?
So similar thing. I took a lot of what I did with the snakes, and I wanted to do the same thing with lizards.
Right.
And I wanted to start very slow. Again, going back to my relationship with, with Kevin, and the guys at Nerd, I had helped out. Yeah. So I had helped out, a couple times with Kevin at his table, and I got to really interact with these monitors kind of one-on-one. And I knew I wanted one, I wanted one for a lot of years, but I waited and waited and waited. I wanted to do it right. And so I started with hatchlings again, and I raised one for about 4 years. I wanted to learn the species, learn the animal, learn the whole thing. And then at that point, I decided, okay, I'm going to pick up a second one, and I'm going to raise it, breed it, and try to do something with monitors more than just the hobby side of it.
Right.
Same recipe as with the snakes. So I had my two, and again, this came a little later on with the water monitors, what we know about what I have. So when I bought them initially, we thought they were T positives that were pos het for T negative. So like two separate compatible lines or incompatible lines at that point is what everybody kind of thought was going on. So there's a T negative line that's compatible with a T positive line, just like in ball pythons, like a Candino.
Right.
It's exactly how a Candino works. And in retics, that's where my knowledge from retics came out of. We have like Mochino, Orange Glow, stuff like that. So I raised my monitors, and in that period of time, I had picked up a couple other ones in between, but I had my one main female, and I had gotten a male, raised the male up, bred them, and I proved out the genetics that really they are the Mochino or Candino animal. So I made T negatives, T positives, and the Candino version, or Mochino or Orange Glow version. And I checked with Kevin, since Kevin obviously had these animals, I'm like, are you okay that we label this morph? And we talked a little bit about it. He's like, dude, just, you got my blessing. I think, for hobby's sake, there needs to be a name put on it. And I'm like, well, I put the name Coral on it. So that one you have up there is a T negative. That plus the T positive, they make like an in-between. So in my first breeding of water monitors, kind of similar to how the retics were, I just kind of fucking blew the doors open again. It was a little bit unexpected because the way the genetics worked out, how we thought was, again, I had a pair of T positives. One of them was het T negative, and the other one was only pos het T negative. But then by doing this breeding is how basically we figured out that they're essentially the Candino. So it's compatibility. They're compatible lines. I had a couple people, throw some shade real quick because realistically, I am new to monitors. I've owned monitors over the last 20 years, but not professionally, I guess you want to call it. So really, I wasn't really much of a name in water monitors, and then I just kind of popped in, and here's my first clutch ever, and here's what I made. So again, I lost a lot of friends that day too. But the people, again, I know, you mentioned Mike, guys like Mike welcomed me right in with open arms. And I mean,
Right.
I was on phone with him this morning. I mean, we hit it off perfect. John over at Sim, same thing. I had a very warm welcome from basically everybody that really was a good open person in the water monitor world. So it was a very warm welcome, and it helped probably that I had quite a few years to show my integrity with the retics. So it went well. It went really good,
I gotta say, man, I gotta say half the reason why I'm so happy to be a part of the monitor game is because of the warm welcoming and knowledge and mentorship I've gotten, all from my boy Andrew Acevedo. I don't know if you know who Andrew Acevedo is.
Oh yeah.
So Andrew introduced me to John, and John introduced me to Alex, and I mean, and obviously Stephen Cush is real knowledgeable with the monitors too. So, you know,
Yep.
I've been so like just well taken care of when it comes to getting helped out. And I know what you mean by that. It's good to have that feeling, because in the ball python game, especially the green tree python game, very snobby. It could be not everyone, but it could be very like political, you know, like what do I need to do? Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's, you know, and that's how the retic thing is kind of hard. It's like most everybody is like, oh, this guy's got a fucking ego problem, and you know, he's only keeping big snakes because of whatever. So the retic guys, there's a lot more abrasive personalities in there than there are just like fun, open, whatever, you know, easy to talk to, easy going guys. So it's a tight balance, you know, and it's a little bit different, but I think every single person I can say now in retics, the people that have held on and are in it, like really in it, are the right people. You know, it's a good crowd. You know, there's been some real big dips in like the reptile industry, not even with the laws, just the personalities that came in and came out. And I think everybody right now is it's a good family of people, you know.
So
we had the big Tinley Park show, and it's like a family reunion. You know, the last couple of years have been real weird with all the COVID shit and all the, you know, different stuff. But this last Tinley was like all the family back together again. It was great time. How many
how many monitor clutches have you like had so far? Like, I know you say you're not you haven't been in it too long, but curious, how many clutches have you had?
So that ties into the first clutch where people were talking shit like, oh, this is fake, that this is a one-time anomaly, whatever. So I'm at clutch 4, and I've had the same results 4 clutches in a row.
Damn, no way. That's
so
sick.
It you know, it's real, it's proven. I had a lot of people that were like, whatever you're typing about these genetics, this explanation is fucking baloney. It's not real. There's no way it works like this. So I proved it out, and then I'm like, I need that second clutch to really hammer it in. Got second clutch, and the third clutch really nailed it in. And I say the fourth clutch is due to hatch here pretty soon, and I'm going to say it's going to be the same results again. But it's proof. It's genetic proof, you know, and it was one of those things where I think it was kind of under our nose, but we never really like pieced it together the right way. And then once it clicked, everything clicked. Everybody like figured it out. It was like, all right, you know, that makes sense. That explains this, and this, all this other shit we'd have questions about. It explained a lot.
So, I mean, let me ask you this: what has the experience been so far establishing these baby monitors? I mean, are they typically just fucking like soldiers and tanks right out the egg, or some of them a little difficult to get going? What's that been like?
You know, it's very different than the snakes. I will say that. Huge new learning experience, because really I mean, they're all animals, but they're like a real animal. They're like a real
like a dog.
Yeah. They're not, you know, the snakes are just, okay, this thing's either gonna bite me, piss on me, or eat or not eat. And that's kind of it.
Snake's like having an emo child. Like, it's like no emotion. It's just like it just sits there.
The lizards, right when they come out of the egg box, you know, sim container, they right away are figuring you out, and they're looking at you, and they're doing their thinking, and they're figuring out what's going on, and you can kind of pick up on what you're getting yourself into like instantly. You know, I'd say my experience in reptiles in general really set me up to have the edge on doing water monitors. Just understanding reptiles and understanding the animal helped me just get way ahead. So, you know, I'm really confident with the retics and the big animals and stuff. So my confidence came over into the water monitors, and I really believe they know when you're comfortable. They understand, like, all right, this guy's cool. He's not here to mess me up. They feed off that. Like they know And I mean, the water monitors did great. They took to me great. I took to them great. You know, getting a meeting is really not as big of a challenge as it is with snakes. I mean, you just put a bowl of food in there and they go to work. I mean, they're hardy. They're super hardy right out of the egg, but they're also really fragile right out of the egg. You know, it's
you keep them all together when they all first come out. Like, do they still stay together like for a while, or how's that work?
Yeah, you know, I set them up in one cage, or I break them up in groups of like 4 or 5, just so they kind of de-stress, or they're not scared, scattering, running around by themselves. They kind of huddle together and they kind of get relaxed, and then you really can watch them as a small group and pick out personalities, so you can understand, you know, this one's going to be hiding, this one's nervous, this one I got to handle more, this one needs to be fed by itself, so make sure it eats. And you learn them. They each have their own personality. It's just like dogs. I mean, it really is.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. This is, I mean, to see something like this. Don't get me wrong. Like, I said this about snakes too, and that was cool. But to see something like this in my lifetime in person will really make me probably cry. I don't know what I would do if I saw something. If I saw something like this looking at me, like, hi, like, are you my dad?
Yeah.
This is epic. This is so epic. Just to see this. This is why I mean, listen, I feel like gratitude and just being appreciative what you have takes you really far in life. And like, I remember just appreciate seeing something like this in a magazine as a kid. Even Jurassic Park hit me some type of way as a kid. I'll never forget Jurassic Park. I think I was 7 years old when it came out. I was young, but I was obsessed with that movie. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about that movie just because of something like this. And I would have never thought, I didn't think I would ever get this close to Jurassic Park like this. This is crazy.
Yeah, you know, that was a huge factor for me. Obviously, the Reptile kids watched all the Jurassic Park stuff, all of that, you know, and the lizards were, it really is, like, to me, I guess you say a croc monitor, you know, or a Komodo coming out of the egg would be like, that's as high as it gets. But for what we can do, the water monitor, like, seeing that, looking, understanding, thinking right in the egg like that. You know, I called up a couple buddies, the first egg that pipped, and man, I was bawling, crying. Like, couldn't put it into words. And like, I had a guy, I remember, I'm not going to say his name, but like 2015, 2016, I was quite a few big breedings in, and man, I was pumped out of my mind every time. And I never forget, he's like, oh, that's gonna go away. That excitement's gonna fade. You're gonna not even care one day. It's not gonna be a big deal. I always think of that guy whenever I cut an egg or hatch eggs. Man, I'm just as pumped, you know, on my 200th clutch over it as I was in my first one. So,
you know who, dude, I actually had somebody who used to say that to me too. Like, not like to be a dick, but like, oh, like, I remember me being this excited, you know, and it kind of like
wear off.
Yeah, exactly. Wear off. And I'm like thinking like, what? It's kind of like how somebody like would say like, oh, you know, you may love this girl, but you're not going to marry her. And you're just like, so like, you just like, what? How, like, motherfucker, you ain't going to tell me what I know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and honestly, sometimes hearing that shit is what you need to, I feel like you and I are alike, because certain phrases or certain things that we never forget stay harnessed in our head and will pop up, and it's like fuel. You know what I'm saying? And
that's exactly fuel. Yep.
I'm a driven motherfucker, bro. And to see someone else's drive and see that you've been putting in work a lot, you know, many years more than I have. You know, I've only been in this game for about like just going on about 4 or 5 years. So, but to see this is just amazing, because you've had so many people thinking you're a one-hit wonder, which obviously it's not the case. Like, you're really about this shit, which I love. But you know, I'm curious. I just want to know, as far as, you know, your hatching out process. I mean, have you lost any eggs during incubation, or have you been kind of successful, like 100% with hatch rates? Like, what's that been like?
So, you know, obviously I hooked up with John early on with sim container, and I used only the sim containers. for all the lizards. So the first clutch was 100% hatch rate. Perfect. The second clutch was actually laid while I was with Kenny in California. So when I got home, the eggs were already toast. So I only had 2 good eggs out of that clutch.
Right.
Those 2 eggs did hatch. And then the third clutch, I lost 1 egg midway through incubation, and then the rest hatched. So, I mean, the clutches have been perfect. And I got this clutch that's on like 160 something, 170 days. And it's still 100%. It's perfect.
What temperature?
86.
86.
Yep.
Wow. That's great. Hey, hold on. Time out real quick. I know we're about 45 minutes deep, but the fact that we're talking about some real deal prehistoric shit, I'm not liking the like ratio. We need to get the likes up for my man, Shane, right now, please. If you're just now tapping in, I get it. You forgot to hit the like button. I'll let you do that right now. But can we please get the likes up? Because we're talking about some real deal Jurassic Park shit, and we're just now tapping in. So please, let's get the likes up for my man, Shane. Sorry about that, Shane.
Yeah, go.
But anyways, okay, so, you know, I mean, I feel like a lot of people, I don't want to say they tell me hatching monitors isn't easy, but like there's certain species of monitors that are easier to hatch than others, do you think? Or what's that? I mean, I don't know. All I have is lace monitors. I do know that some people, I do know some people have struggled getting laces to hatch during the process and whatnot. But from what you know, your knowledge, you know, what's it like on a range breeding, you know, getting eggs to hatch? Is it all different?
So it is really different, you know, and again, having background in snakes, and I mean, I'm talking like the retics were when I said like 2009, but like I've bred all the like basic pet store stuff years and years before all of that, just regular ball pythons and leopard geckos and carpet pythons and some colubrids and stuff. Just so I had a lot of years of like incubation experience leading up to doing water monitors, but I knew it was going to be a whole new ball game. Incubating 200 plus days is nuts. It's nuts. And then if something screws up for a week, anything goes wrong or there's temperature fluctuations, to then go another 100 days or 150 days or more, that alone makes it super challenging. You know, you get these eggs all the way up to the day they hatch and they slit and then they're deformed and dead in the egg. You know, it's a huge challenge. I'm very thankful that I had the experience going into it enough to hopefully I was going, you know, enough experience with other animals and eggs to where I was pretty successful with these eggs. But all I hear is big challenging stories, you know, of the different species of monitors. And it's funny you even asked that. I was on the phone this morning with Mike, you know, and we talked about small species of monitors that he breeds and the large species of monitors. And then we went back and forth because I've bred all the Australian, you know, like, you know, children's pythons, anthills, Stimsons, spotted pythons. I bred those for a long time before I really got into retics, and then I still bred them over the last couple of years in between. And like the anthill python eggs, you know, the anthill python eggs are like M&Ms, like peanut M&Ms.
Right.
So when those babies hatch, they're like nothing. They're toothpicks. So the eggs, the challenging stuff you asked about with the smaller species of monitors, like the eggs are just so fragile from the second they're laid that to actually get you to the point where a full formed healthy baby hatches is like, it's next to impossible. You know, that's why you only see a few people really excelling in the small species of monitors, guys that are hyper focused on adapting to that one species. And I talked to a chameleon breeder. You know, they went into conversation about changing the you know, moisture levels in the soil and fluctuating temperatures in like 400 days of incubation. What I wouldn't even Well, how do you even do that? I don't even understand that.
So much can happen in a year. It's like,
Right.
what the?
That's what I'm saying. One day your power goes out, or one day someone knocks the plug of the incubator, or something. Your fan breaks halfway, day 200, your fan's broken and you don't know it. Like, that's what I think the human interaction stuff is what makes most of that so hard to deal with,
100%. I mean, with that being said, what have you been doing with most of your monitor productions? Are you just holding on to them, or are you been putting them in the right hands of people you trust, or what's going on with the project?
So I like, my big thing from early on is I've always kept. That's where my kind of morals of selective breeding and why I'm able to bring what I can bring to the table to it is I hold back a lot of stuff. Probably more than anybody should or does. Really, I hold on to duplicates of stuff and triples of the same exact morphs and same stuff. So I kept a lot of the T negatives that I hatched. From the hobby aspect of it, wanting to keep and raise my first babies, and I've, got them, and I wanted to raise them from different clutches. So I've kept a lot of the T negatives. The people that have reached out to buy the higher end stuff, I turned down quite a few people, and the people that I felt were really going to do well and, maintain a good image for the industry, take care of the animals the right way. It's like putting more than just you want to do that with any animal, of course, but, specifically for the water monitors, that's a whole different program. It's a whole different program. So
right.
Everyone that's reached out, it wasn't their first monitor. They had experience. They knew what was going on. They knew what they were getting into. It was kind of a lot like why I policed my own, I checked myself early on. I'm like, oh, I want a monitor. I'm not ready to get one because I'm not going to take care of it the right way. And that's a guy with 20 years of reptile keeping. I still thought I wouldn't take care of him the right way, So I waited and waited, and then I police people too with the retics, or check them out, make sure they really know what they're doing. I really don't like selling people their first snake without really, really kind of coaching them for a little while. I've sold a lot of people their first snakes, and there's a big taboo early on in the retic world, like, oh, you sold that guy his first retic. Now he's gonna get bit. He's gonna say this. He's gonna do this. He's gonna screw him up and kill him. All this different stuff. But how are you gonna sell the guy his second retic if no one will sell him his first one? So. Right. So I made friends with a lot of people. I opened up dialogue to a lot of people early on, and we would talk for months. And then I'm like, all right, you're really ready to do this and get one. And I think those days are kind of long gone, because now with the internet, morph market, people can buy just no matter what,
Yeah, and that's the problem. That was my problem too, man. Like my first monitor was a Nile monitor that I bought for $60 at a pet store because I thought I was coming up. I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, look at this thing. I thought it was like an Asian water monitor at first, but I had no clue. Yeah. But the thing is, I put in work with that thing and still got fucked up, but I still passionately went through it until I found the right home, until I got to the point where I was like, listen, I'm tired of getting hurt, and I just don't want to progress in this. And, it landed in the right lap of the right person. But, I don't know, man, no matter what happens when you take responsibility of something, you still have to hold it down, and here's the thing that people don't understand with getting into monitors or a retic, right? That thing could have two different types of attitude. Like this thing could be this thing could be a walk in the park, or it could be progressed walk in the park, or this thing could never turn the corner and just always be a dick. And when you have something like that, Like when somebody has something that's that mean, they don't ever want to mess with it. So
Right.
when you don't mess with it, it gets even worse. And now they're like, when you don't bond with something like that, or have it get used to you touching it. Oh, bro, like you're just creating a whole worse scenario for yourself. But that's the people who have a big collection or people who have other shit to attend rather do other stuff than fuck with something that's like, oh, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll do that last. I'm saying this because this is what I used to do. I'm talking from experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I don't have big red ticks no more, bro, because that was like my headache. I had so much other shit going on, plus 12 mainlands, and these mainlands were constantly shitting, and it was just like, you know, and I wasn't gonna breed them. I had no intentions of breeding these mainlands. They were just pets, and you know, fuck, dude, that was. And Kenny's the reason behind my whole love with retics. He sent me my first retic. I'll never forget that moment, bro. That was nuts.
Kenny's a good dude, man. Kenny's my guy.
So as of right now, what's the game plan with the monitors? Do you ever plan on getting into another species into your project lineup, or are you just gonna stay dialed in with this coral line that you've produced?
You know, I'm gonna basically, you know, run a parallel line with my business model with the retics, you know, or my breeding project model of what I go after, and I pick the couple genes that I love, and I try to, you know, perfect them, turn them into a masterpiece, you know, do the best I can with just specific genes. And it's a lot of times, you know, there's always a race to make the first, which people will be like, oh, all you care about is making world's first. But realistically, you got to have a goal, right? I mean, don't want to be like, oh, I want to be the 8th person to make this. So why are you going to hate on someone else's goal no matter what the goal is? It's their goal. Right. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. So, you know, I do like targeting world's first, or I like targeting a specific morph, and I'm driven to get there first. But once I get there, I don't just like wave a trophy and walk off. I want to make the best of that morph.
Keep going.
So right. So it's still, some people be like, oh, you're making the same stuff you were. Well, my first clutch was purple sunfires. The clutch I just cut is purple sunfires. But they're 10 years better incrementally than they were, you know, 10 years ago. Right. And there's other genes. I mean, that's a whole thing of my selective stuff, you know, but the water monitors, it's going to be the same thing. I've got sulfur, and I've got the albino lines that are compatible, the T positive, the T negative, and the coral. So my goal, you know, I don't mind sharing, you know, I'm pretty vocal about that anyway with the water monitors, is to make a T negative sulfur and to make a coral sulfur. So right. I'm moving along in that pretty quick, and not just trying to hit it like first. You know, there is supposedly already a T positive sulfur that's been made. Awesome animal, and it's not. I'm not trying to like beat anybody to it. I'm trying to just make it and make a specific one, and then try to make the best of that one. So T negative coral sulfurs. The 2 albinos and the recessive gene of sulfur.
What's this one right here?
Really, that's a coral. That's a couple days out of the egg. Yeah.
That thing is so fire, bro. Oh my god, that thing is unbelievable, bro.
Yeah.
So you think as an adult, it'll keep that purple? You think?
So if you had a short video clip playing of my adult pair breeding,
right?
That is, you know, the 2 adults you showed side by side, and then the one breeding.
Was that down here? Let me see. Was that before? Let me see. I want to see it again.
It might be further down, like a couple pages down. Right up. Yeah, right there. So that's a pair. That is my adult pair of corals. So there's a couple. couple pictures of them further down the page, just like still images, more close-ups. But they keep these big purple bands, and they have lavender and purple. That adult picture right there, the two. Yep.
Okay,
I mean,
I see it.
So they keep big yellows and oranges, and then the big purple bands and big lavender bands. Yeah, that's.
Dude, these things are sexy, bro.
They're so awesome, and you know that's a big factor too with the water monitors. Like even those, the female is on the left in that picture. I mean, when she means business, I mean I run out of the cage. I mean it's there's a and I've raised her from a hatchling. I raised her from like a little tiny hatchling into a proven breeder, and that picture right there up to the right of the two of the heads. That'll show a little bit of their, yeah, you're on. That'll show some of the purples and yellows. But that's my big breeding pair. That's kind of been the founding pair.
So I'm curious, what would a baby like this go for if it was on the market? Like, for instance, let's say you were in a position where you had some to let go of, and you found the comfortable customer. What would something like this go for? Curious.
So because it's such a small clutch,
right?
You know, there's only a couple of each morph. You're kind of able to grade them a little bit more obviously than you can with snakes. You know, sometimes you had 10 of the same morph and they all look just about the same. With those, you can kind of pick, you know, what level you want to be at. So, you know, usually between like 65 and 8,500, somewhere in that range.
Wow.
You know, graded, you know, to really see what exactly look you're after or which ones. There's clearly a standout. If there's 2 or 3 of them, you could pick, and then I try to keep the pricing in between there.
So, I mean, with that being said, what's your ideal? I mean, because obviously you the biggest thing with monitors, from what I know, no matter what the monitor species is, it's all about them being comfortable in order for them to breed the way they and cycle the way they need to, right? So it seems like you have them in a good environment. So what's the setup like for these monitors? What do you have these adults in and whatnot?
So the adults are all in walk-in enclosures. I find I leave them more open. There's really nowhere to hide in any of my monitor cages except the very fresh hatchlings. And that's just so they don't stress out and not eat. But none of my animals past probably 3 months have anywhere to hide. So their cages are pretty open. They've got enough climbing and swimming areas and basking areas to give them really what they want. They do need to be socialized. I do believe they really, I believe they really do enjoy interacting. I know that most people be like, oh, they're just animals. They're just a stupid lizard, blah, blah, blah. I mean, these guys behind me, these babies, they want to come out. I mean, I take them out, even the adults, they scratch at the glass to open the door and they want to come out. So although their cages are kind of not bare, but they're not like a jungle, because I interact with them so much. And in turn, that I think makes them better animals.
Right.
I've noticed one thing I noticed early on with the water monitors is, and it's not a dig or a knock in any way. There's like 2 types of keeping. One type, you just don't touch them. You don't look at them. You don't interact with them. You just throw food in there. And if they live good lives. They're just left alone, right?
Right.
And that's fine. It's like a zoo. They just have them. That's fine. That probably works for everybody. But there's also the other side of it that I'm, again, speaking from a place of experience. It's not arrogance. It's confidence. I know what I'm talking about because I've lived it. I've done it.
It's experience. It's experience.
Right, I handle that male. I would take that male to any reptile show on my shoulder just like that. Take him outside. He's not wearing a harness. I have them out all the time. I have my kids around them because I've raised them that way. They're that tame, and I interact with them to that level. It's never compromised my breeding. It's never compromised any of their life. If anything, I think they enjoy it more. I mean, that lizard gets more interaction than one I would just leave in a cage.
Right.
You know? So my philosophy for the cages is give them what they need to survive appropriately. But I think you as a keeper, you know, you need to interact with them, improve their quality of life. And again, a lot of people monitor world, they don't really have a lot of monitors. They just have a couple. So they give those animals really good lives. You know, they like.
Oh, it should be.
Yeah. You know, it's a joke I've always said because I've got all the big snake stuff and then the lizard stuff. You get guys that will buy like a $10,000 retic and they will put it in a fucking critter cage on their dresser in their bedroom. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then you get a guy who will take home a $25 Savannah monitor from a reptile show and convert a bedroom into a cage. Like reconstruct their home for this animal. And that's one thing I've always been like, it's so, how do you get a common ground, you know? How do you meet in the middle for that? So it's a crazy thing you see from the outside and see it from someone else, a different species, a different animal altogether. You know, it's not another snake. It's, you know, it's a whole different animal, but it's crazy how much the monitor keepers put into their animals. And I didn't want to be the guy that's not providing the right care within that community also, or for my own self, my own, you know, self desire to do well. I want to make sure I provide the right care for the animals. So, you know, they got what they need, big ponds, walk-in enclosures, and all, you know, different temperatures, basking platforms, and they're out in my room every day. I've got them out, you know, as often as I can, you know, every day almost. So
with that being said, Shane, let me ask you this. As far as your holdbacks go, right? Obviously, they're holdbacks. Like, let's say you have a male. The male is a part of the future projects for you. How are you housing grow-ups together? And like, for instance, like let's say you have a holdback that's approaching breeding size. I mean, are they being raised with females throughout their whole lives, or are they being separated? Like, how's that being worked out? I'm just curious.
So the monitors, or at least water monitors, gender, people make very strong predictions right out of the egg.
Right.
But you don't know. You really don't know. I've kept babies together, and I've called, again, this is me, I'm calling these shots like right away out of the egg, like this is a male, this is a female.
Right.
I put a picture up today of a pair from the last clutch that the day out of the egg, I said, this is the male, this is the female. And still now 2 months later, it appears I was right. So I too am trying to learn what those water monitors are supposed to be like, so I can build experience in it, and something I'm relatively new in. So I keep the babies together for probably 3 or 4 months, depending if one's eating more than the other, or one's getting picked on, or I could tell one's getting shy. And I separate them as needed. And then probably after 6 months, everything's got its individual setup. Once I get to the point where I think it's time to start considering either a breeding rotation or a more permanent, bigger adult cage, then I'll transition them into the 6 foot size cages, then the 8 foot size cages, and then so on from there. Right. Most everything is also based on like what you think maybe gender wise. You know, you kind of raise them based on what sex you think they might be, and then you go from there. You know, the females, you want to make sure the cages are big enough for nesting sites that you can access without messing with the females. So, you know, you just wait until you really know the gender, you know. And I mean, I've waited all this way up to like, 18 months till my males start dropping sperm plugs. Everybody keeps saying to, get them to show their hemipenes and all that. I just don't want to piss off my animals bad enough to make them show me.
Yeah.
So, and that all kind of ties back to like my animals being like ultra tame. Is that a video you're on there?
This is a video. This is a picture of your lay box. It just shows eggs here. Yeah.
I don't know if I ever even posted a video, but like I took a video in that egg box of the female literally just licking my face, tasting my face as I'm pulling the eggs out.
Right.
So it goes back a lot to like how I've raised them and how socialized they are. They've made them they're very comfortable animals. And I think that lets them live a better life, that they're relaxed. Sometimes I've seen monitors that are out basking and you walk into the room and they fucking jet, they take off, they hide.
They want nothing with nobody.
Yeah, they hide for a week and you never see them again. My animals they're always out. They're always out. They're always up at the front of the cage. They're always looking around. And I basically tongue feed everything. So they have a huge amount of social interaction, like all the time. So it pays off.
As far as what you like to establish your hatchings on, what are some what are they eating for the first part of their lives for the most part?
Most of it is just cut up food, really cut up eggs, cut up pinkies, cut up mice, cut up chicks. We were doing like cut up chunks of chicken. I was doing chicken breast or ground chicken. Kind of going away from that. I would supplement a lot of the adults on like different chicken parts and stuff, but all the whole prey is like the staple. Just as their babies cut up, sliced up, they munch it down, and man, they're on a whole pinky like pretty quick. After a couple weeks, they horse down a whole pinky by itself. So from there, you just like a snake, you just gradually increase the size. Small chickens, most of my adults are whole trout, small chickens, rats. My bigger ones will eat pigs, believe it or not. Quail, and all the general whole prey stuff.
Damn, hell yeah. Now, I mean, as far as, you were mentioning how your female kind of like, she'll show you like, don't fuck with me type stuff, right?
Yeah.
Is that's due to breeding? Is that due to her laying eggs is when she starts to act like that? And is that kind of something you look for? Like, or what does that usually mean when she does that?
When her attitude changes, she'll generally, when she's starting to cycle or build follicles, she will slow her feeding response way down, almost to nothing. Like she will dive off her basking platforms at me to get food when it's go time. Right. And if I go in there and I got a chick on the tongs and I wave it around in the cage and she just like kind of turns her head a little bit and closes her eyes. If I were to approach her more, like more invasively, climbing in the cage and go around, she'll be like, all right, she'll show me. She's like, just don't come near me. But that's only a really small period of time, and the big scary part is the introductions.
Right.
Had I not had the animal experience over all these years, I would shit my pants doing these introductions. Like, the female doesn't want that male in there. You got a split second to like get in between two chainsaws and keep your own shit together to not let these animals destroy each other and kill each other, not hurt each other, right. Dismantle each other
to the death.
It's I've had retics take bites from aggressive females, but it's nothing like monitors. I mean, nothing. If you put two male retics together, they will probably kill each other. They'll rip each other just in half. But that's two males, on accident or not on purpose, but whatever. But the water monitors, even a male a female and a non-compatible male, you're looking like almost like a death sentence, like bad.
I'm curious, when you said that her food response drops immediately, is it going back up even before she lays, or does it stay down until she lays and then it goes up? Like how's that working?
So she will completely go off food, like all the retics. I mean, pretty much everything goes off food, I guess, reptile wise. But so she'll go off food where she just will straight up. I could put a chick on her face and she'll just nudge it around with her head, and it'll still be there the next morning. So that food drive is gone for like that week, where she's just completely extremely receptive. I put my male in there and they head bob and they just go nuts. The males are just like, they go goofy, like crazy. And the female just lays down, puts her head down, and the male breeds her like instantly. After she's been bred a couple times, she will eat, but it's like she could take it or leave it. I'll put it on a big tray in there, or I'll have her come over to me, and she might take a chick, maybe, one. And then really after they've ovulated and before they lay, some of their feeding response comes back, but they don't have the room to, gorge themselves. So they really don't eat a lot. There's pictures it'll take you forever to find. They're way down there on Instagram, but my one female's belly hanging under her, it just looks so painful. Like, just, you felt so bad, So she didn't want to eat. She didn't want to do nothing, but she was so full of eggs, But they need to eat in between their test dig. They spend a lot of time test digging different spots to get the right spot to drop the eggs. So they're exhausted. They spend a whole day digging and they're not ready to lay. They come out of the egg box and they're just like, they need to eat, they're exhausted. So they eat, they recharge, and then the next day they go back in there and they're digging again. But once they drop those eggs, man, they're back to being like a hurricane. They're ready.
And as far as that behavior of noticing them digging, like, for instance, I'm standing next to my green screen monitors, right? And I notice my female in the morning, right when I turn her lights on, she comes out and she's just covered in her nest box bedding, and then I try not to mess with it, but I peek in there and just I see her tunnels and shit like that, and I go, oh shit, but I'm saying, like, I have not seen him breed her. I physically have not seen him like breed her, because I've seen it before, but so far I haven't seen it. So she typically won't go unless there's a lock, right? Is that how it usually works? Or can she still lay a clutch regardless?
Yeah, so they will cycle regardless.
Right.
I learned, and that was another fear of mine with the water monitors, because I wasn't sure I wanted to breed them right when I first got them. I knew I wanted to try them as a pet, as an animal, as hobby end of it. Right. But my fear was, like, I wanted to buy a male first, so I could just raise a male and have it as a pet, and had no pressure of even thinking about really breeding. But then everyone's like, man, if you don't keep a female the right way, she will get egg bound and die, because they will still cycle no matter what. So that tripped me out real early on, because I'm like, I don't want this female just to die because I fucked up the egg box, or my inexperience cost this animal its life, So that's why I wanted to start with a male. But my first one I thought was a male turned out to be my female, and then my one that I got that was supposed to be the male to breed that female turned out to be a female when I bought it thinking it was a male. So I flip-flop, that's a whole other situation. But I was so scared, to just not breed them and have the female just die on me. So I had her lay slugs first before I even considered breeding her. Just to make sure I was doing. I didn't make her lay slugs, but she did that and I made sure I was doing everything right. So she laid all those slugs, went back on food, and I'm like, okay, I learned a lot from that kind of fall cycle, going through that first cycle, and I learned the second clutch was perfect.
So my stress is really laying on the fact that my green tree monitor's first cycle was not laid in her nest box because there was like there was a situation where a water dish got spilt in there, and it was a super she didn't like it, so she ended up laying them in like a piece of cork wood, which isn't typically normal, but she was probably stressed the fuck out. But I'm just happy she got them out. I'm happy she got them out. And this time around, I redid the nest box. There's absolutely no chance of any water being like dumped in there. So I'm seeing her using it this time around and whatnot. The thing is, last time she laid eggs, I also didn't have the male pulled, and I also know that needs to be something in a huge factor that comes into play. Once that female does lay them, she can either become very defensive over the eggs, or the male could just eat the eggs and fuck up the eggs and destroy. So I just want to make sure I pull the male out at the right time and not too soon,
If she's already test digging and she's repeatedly test digging, I'd probably pull the male now.
Cool. Good to know.
I mean, the big water monitors, lizards this big, they're breeding,
Right.
If you got the green trees and they're tucked up in a log I bet you they've bred a bunch of times that you may have not even caught.
Oh, yeah. I mean they've definitely been in that log together for sure. So you're right. I just, like the first time I saw it physically, like a lot, like I was like, he was definitely chasing her around, and like they would get stuck like on a, they would just stop for a while. And so
he for sure bred. I'll tell you, if she's digging, either you're getting good eggs or bad eggs, but she will not be digging and being bred.
Right.
And before the monitor guys destroy me, this is my experience and my knowledge. If she's digging, the male is also not breeding her still. That's two different times.
Two different periods.
She's already past the breeding period. Whether he got it done or not, she's done with that, and now she's on to digging. So they're not going to be.
It's funny you say that, bro, because her feeding has slowly gone down just a bit, and she's becoming more rounded on her belly. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, tree monitors, they're not big. They're not girthy fucking species. They're pretty slender. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm glad you told me I should just pull the male, and I feel like that would give me a peace of mind. Because like I said, it's like clockwork. I come in here. I even posted a story earlier this morning. I'm like, there's Brittany again. Her face is covered in dirt, and she always goes in there at night. I don't know if she's in there all night, but in the morning time, she comes out and she's just covered in dirt. And what's crazy, what's like, here's the thing too, and I try not to overthink it, but like, I see that she kind of covers her tunnels sometimes, and I don't like. I just don't know when. I mean, how are you knowing when your monitors lay? I guess. I mean, do you look for body structure afterwards, or do you have cameras, or what?
I got cameras. Yeah, I mean, I got live feeds and everything, and then the same thing, like you said, I take pictures every day. I write every day notes on my dry erase boards on what I see, or it's short words, shit only I understand, swell, lower body, blah, blah, blah. I keep notes and I track it. So I know when they physically bred because I caught it, and I know what day she's on. And then, like how many days post breeding when you believe you saw your ovulation. It's usually like 30 days after that last lock that I end up getting eggs. 28 to 32 days.
Wow.
So it's like they don't go through a prelay shed like snakes do. The snakes do a prelay, and you're like, okay, start the clock.
Right.
So
exactly.
I document it like when I see my last breeding. The males are they go like stupid. They're just aggressive breeders, and then they just stop, and I pull them. I'll put the male back in. They show no interest. I pull them again, and I start 28 to 32, 34 days. And you'll see them slowly start digging more and more and more. Just like if you're saying she's digging more and more, and you're lucky you got a slender animal that you could start to see a swell. Or I mean, do they hang? I mean, I'm sure you've seen like all the laces, hanging, and They're just letting their body weight hang.
Oh my God, she was hanging for the last 2 days, hanging under the cork like this, like cliffhanger. So
You're in, right? You're in.
all right, pull that. No, I need to pull that male. I need to pull that male.
Yeah,
Hey,
I would pull the male, and man, you can get such a cheap little camera. The little blink cameras are. I've got them all over the room. Just set it up in front of the cage, and I just have a motion sensor on for her coming in and out of the egg box. Because my girl will be in the egg box for 3 days straight.
Right.
And I can't open it to see if there's eggs. So I literally got to wait and wait and wait days for her to come out of the egg box. Then I can go in.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
It's a lot of privacy too. That's the one thing where, like, I don't care how tame they are. If they're lame, just fucking leave them alone. Don't even go by the cage. Don't do nothing if you don't have to. Because then that's when they spook crazy. They get so spooked out, freaked out. If she thinks she's threatened in there, she'll, just go batshit, running through the cage. I've had her do that like the first 2 cycles. Again, I'm learning too as I go. I went in there to change a light bulb. She fucking lost it. But she was digging earlier because she was totally covered, like yours, totally covered in dirt.
Right. Got defensive.
Yeah, so she was like, "You just get out of here," And she more or less wanted to run. She didn't even want to turn and fight. When the intros are going on, then she'll chase you out of the cage. But she just wanted to get away.
Right.
And that's how a lot of people. I've seen a couple people. Injuries, like these lizards get injured running off a ledge in their cage and fucking slamming on a branch or, getting cut on something. I mean, there's not a lot of stuff that'll snag them, but if they're running for their life and they slice themselves on anything, they're man-made cages. Everything's all man-made. So unless it's like, there's nothing sharp or nothing they can fuck themselves up,
My fucking goddamn monitor. My monitors give me a heart attack, like fucking right when I turn the lights on. Sometimes you'll just hear like a like you hear like a slugging, and because they're like the enclosure is about 6.5 feet tall, so Mac Dre will just come out and just like slug his body down the whole cage, and like
I'm gonna take this one out for you.
Let's see it.
This is one of the babies. He's probably gonna bite me. I'm not gonna freak out, but they're that hungry all the time.
Damn, look at this.
So this is Blaze. That I gave him a name, Blaze. He's way more orange than the other ones I hatched in this clutch. So I kept this one around. This is the one I pegged as a male. Right out of the egg, I called it. I said, this is going to be a male, and we're going to raise him up and see what we get. So, I'm in the process, obviously, raising him. He wants to jump away because I'm probably screaming in his face. But this is the last clutch. Hopefully that. Whoop, there we go. The joys of keeping baby monitors, but he's good. I mean, this is kind of the prime one out of this clutch that I kept back. And that's where the selectivity, my breeding program with snakes is keep the best. Sorry, like people want to get first pick. First pick is always after my pick.
Exactly.
I built a strong stock. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I lost it for a second. But that's why I built such a strong stock, is because I've kept the best of every clutch every time. No exceptions. And that is my plan with the lizards too. I've kept the best. Doesn't mean yours is worse. I just saw something in the one I wanted for my program, Because
So
I've had, yeah, go ahead.
let me ask you this, Shin. If you were to put this in the hands of a customer, right, and they were to ask you, do you recommend me holding it every day? Would you recommend interaction and it being held every day if you can?
See him trying to bite me. Anytime he smells food, he's ready to go. I don't have food, buddy. Chill out. So what I would say is, like, you'll see a lot of guys like, oh, look what I could do like this. They don't freak out. They need to be used to you. But you also have to do that on their terms.
100%.
If you force them too hard, you'll go backwards. But if you let them dictate the interaction, you're never going to have a tame adult.
I love that.
If this lizard shit on me right now, typically people would put it back. If it bit me like it just bit me, people would put it back. If it latched onto my hand, people would put it back. Once you've committed to handling this thing, you need to see it all the way through. Do not let it bite you and then you say, oh, I'm going to put it back and try again. Because then it knows all it has to do is bite you or shit on you and you're never going to touch it again.
Right.
That's how you end up with a bad adult. You know, right now, having a tame baby is important, but a tame adult is what you're going to want to end up with. You know, they don't need to be super tame at this size. They need to be super tame when they're monsters. If you scroll through my Instagram on there, I have my big male Maui out, you know, taking pictures in this exact spot. And he's huge. He's the one that was out on my shoulder. You want a tame adult, you know. Too many people pressure them too hard at this size. And
That's
really,
awesome.
back to your exact question, handling them every day, I don't think is good, because you're not going to handle them every day as an adult unless you have one animal in your house. You're just not.
Right.
You're going to interact with them, but you're not going to have them out like this every day, you know? So you want to get them on at least a good enough pattern where they can eat, digest their food, not be fucked with after they eat for at least 2 days.
Right.
And then take them out and have interaction time with food or without food. I like to do like 3 days of handling and then I feed again. You know, one thing I've really focused on probably in the last 5 years is raising my animals way slower. I think we overfeed a lot of shit in general. And I think it comes from just our own, you know, that's a lot of times that's your only real interaction with some of these animals is when you feed them. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. And that's when you feel like you're like guys are getting along. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, and yeah, it's true. And you know, the crazy part is with retics, again, coming from 15, 20 years ago, everybody wanted a 20-foot retic. There is so few actual 20-foot retics out there. People will say they're 20 feet. They're not. I mean, I've raised snakes that have eaten fucking 40-pound deer in one shot. They weren't 20 feet. You just don't end up with a 20-foot retic as easy as you think. But everybody wanted to get there as quick as they could.
Well, I mean, be honest though, Shane, how many real 20-foot retics are even out there nowadays? Like real 20-foot retics. Like that's
I bet you truly, if you were to put an actual tape measure on them, I bet you could probably find 10 of them from a credible source right now. I mean, realistically, they're just not. To go from 18 to 20 is astronomical. It's an astronomical amount of time, food, and growth. Some snakes are bigger bodied and they will grow to that size, but I bet you there is fractions of what people really think is true 20-foot retics out there. You know, like I said, I've raised babies from out of the egg into multi-proven adults where they're slamming 20-pound pigs, and they were not 20 feet. I mean, they were monsters, monster animals, and they were not 20 feet. You know, it goes back to like with the lizards and the handling. I know there's people that feed their lizards every day. I don't knock it. It works for you, good. There's a lot of recipes for chicken soup, and they all taste good. If it works for you, just do it.
I don't know about that.
Well, most of them, right? You'd hope.
Yeah, I feel you. At the end of the day, Americans in general, if it's not to animals, to themselves, overfeed. It's just. You know what I mean? And yep. I'm saying, bro, like when I was told how to feed certain things, like my biggest I was misled a lot with the ball pythons in the beginning, as far as people telling me how much to feed it and whatnot. And I was okay with that because in the beginning, I loved feeding shit. When I had only 10 animals, it was no problem. I could feed every week if I wanted to. And then as it grew and as it grew, I'm thinking my mind is stuck to like, I have to feed Friday. Shit. You know what I'm saying? And I just realized how like when you have something eating so consistently, it's okay if it skips a week or two. Like I feel like it's normal for them not to eat so consistently. They don't eat consistent in the wild. So why should you always be feeding food? And you know, a lot of these animals are opportunists. Like if they see food, they feel like this could be the last time I'm ever going to probably see food again. So they want to eat it. You know what I mean? So they'll do it to the point of misery, you know?
Yep. That's what I say. Like, oh, like you think the snakes in the wild, like, oh, that rat's a little too big. Oh, you know, they eat whatever's there. So we, in general, like you said, overfeed just on our own, but like slow it down. I mean, we don't need our snakes to be that big that fast, you know. And I kind of changed my outlook on that, probably, like I said, about 5 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, but like just raise them slower. You're still going to get there. You know, you're still going to get to adulthood. You're still going to have a snake lay good eggs and be a strong animal and be healthy. It just, you know, imagine you trying to be 20 years old by the time you were 5. I mean, it doesn't work the right way. Just slow it down. You'll eventually have a healthier adult animal in the long run, you know?
I mean, it's exactly what you said. I mean, just because you're not fucking throwing shit down its fucking throat every goddamn day doesn't mean it's not going to be a healthy breeder. Like that doesn't like you got like Brandon Van Asten. You know who Brandon Van Asten is? He's like a good like legit ass tree monitor breeder from Canada. Canadian Cold Blood is the name of his. You know who he is?
Yeah, I've seen his stuff.
He's done research out in the wild on this shit, you know, and he's told me how much smaller and slender things are in the wild. Like it's crazy. They're so much smaller because food is so much scarce. And now they get every home they go to is like a hometown buffet. They get fucking just like they're just bloated and obese like Americans.
Retics, most retics that are healthy look like adult coastal carpet pythons or adult scrub pythons. Like they're slender, way more arboreal than we'd like to give them credit for, I think.
100%.
And they're lean. They're supposed to be lean, muscular, long snakes, you know? I think people see these giant ones in the wild that are probably legitimate monster sizes eating entire hippos or fucking alligators or crocs or capybaras, whatever they're feeding on monster meals because they don't pass up a meal. And then what do you think that snake looks like after it digested that meal? It's going to look like an actual giant. But I bet you that same snake 6 weeks later or 3 months later, because it hasn't eaten since, is like skinny as a rail.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times they associate it the wrong way. I mean, they don't need to be these monstrosity, obese, always full of food, always shitting and pissing every other day. Like they don't need to be fed that way. You know, it's crazy.
And I will say that one thing I'm confident about this is personalities per species are different, right? And I feel like no matter what kind of personality a retic has, a retic's always down to climb. Like a retic's always down. If it can, it's gonna want to go up. It's gonna want to go up and up. And and here's my argument with, you know, like a ball python, right? I mean, I know a ball python would want to go on a branch if it wanted to, but I'm pretty sure it's trying to go on a branch to find a hole and be hidden. And that's a snake that's okay with not seeing anybody. It wants to be hidden. You see what I'm saying? So a ball python is a snake that could get away, I feel personally, in a rack, you know, like it's happy in a dark fucking, you know, rack system, I feel like, and is okay being left alone, you know? Retics, on the other hand, is like a monitor, bro. They need they need to know what's happening. They're more in tuned, let's just say. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people overthink on how smart a retic actually is. they're fucking in tune, bro. Like they know.
They're
They could be derpy. They could be derpy as fuck, but they're also just very like they know what the fuck. Like, yeah, I mean, that's the first snake I noticed. The pupil, like, or like, have you noticed the pupil how it moves on a retic? Like when it's focused in on you, and you're like, holy shit, that's intense. Like
they're calculated, man. They're way more calculated than people want to really give them credit for. I mean, they're very smart. On the grand scale of reptiles, I wouldn't put them in the high ranks at all. But in the scale of snakes, they are very, very intelligent animals. I mean, you really can't get much past them. They know what's going on, and they know when you're coming. They know when there's an opportunity. They know. I mean, they're not stupid animals. I mean, they sadly, Berms always got that, rap of they're just a big, just a big glob, dumb snake, but like just don't react to anything.
Right.
And I've had Berms too and done Berms for a while, but they're smart too. But retics are like, they up that way, way, way higher.
So I have a wrap-up question for you that's going to be pretty warm. It's going to be a hot one, and it's going to go into the hot questions, which is perfect. Let's get you warmed up for it, right?
All right.
And I'm serious because this is I mean, man, to hear where you're at with retics, no matter where the market's at, I feel like you're still going to be as passionate as you are and work with what you want to work with, and I respect that. But you have other people who work with not the same, but they also have retic projects, and I feel like people with bigger names almost represent what you do, right? And because at the end of the day, what you market, they market, it puts you in the same category. You're in the same fucking bubble, right? But damn well, bro. I mean, like, let's say, I appreciate a retic keeper that I respect because there's not many of them. A lot of them I don't respect. I'm going to tell you that right now. What is your feeling? Well, I want to know how you feel overall about the retic market right now, and what your gut feeling is future wise, like, I mean, how do you, and I'm saying like on all aspects, like, with the clowns that keep retics, with the passion people like yourself that keep retics, with the market where it's at, with US ARC, all together, what's your gut feeling about the retic market? While you talk, I'm gonna take a leak, but I can hear you.
So, that's a pretty heavy question to really dive into quick. So, where I see it going is we've really got to spend a little bit more time working on designer stuff. I think more people have picked their specific gene that they like or that they're known for and they want to keep working on. So we got those types of groups and those niche people that work with specific projects. So they're like subcategories within our own industry. We've got to have guys that support these groups and guys that support these projects and these breeding programs. But I think kind of where we're navigating, and the retic people might get mad when they hear it kind of, but no matter how you want to cut it, we are really going towards the ball python community more and more and more with designer animals, like really, really specific projects. Obviously Justin's name's come up at some point, but those real specific gene-driven projects, that's where we kind of got to go with retics. We now have enough genes where we can do that. Before, there was, like 4 codoms and 2-3 recessives that were popular, and that was it. Well, now we have way more genes, and we're way more years into it. We really need to be focusing on our own specific niche projects and bringing our own product to the table. Like, I also have a big group of ball pythons. So I've had ball pythons on and off, same thing, last 10, 15 years. So I've always been in the ball game. I've got breeding.
You know what I want from you, by the way. You know exactly what I'm trying to get my hands on. I mean, don't tell people. Don't tell people. Fuck that.
All right.
Because they're gonna get all in your case. I mean, are you hurting for money? Should we market it? I mean, I want to help you. I mean, I don't want to hurt. Like,
No,
you know what I mean?
no. No, well, we don't even need to talk about it. I got you covered, though. Don't worry.
I want, bro, because honestly, dude, oh my God, it's heat, bro. Like, you don't understand like that. What you have going on is such a huge piece of what I want to accomplish and what I have going on already, which we can help each other. That's all all I'm saying is like, we can help each other, please.
We'll have to cut those eggs. We'll have to cut those eggs live on here. But that's the same thing I'm doing with the ball pythons. Now my ball python group that I breed is very, very specific. I've hit up a lot of ball python guys and I look for certain animals. They're like, well, I have this with yellow belly, orange dream, this, spider and sheep, all this other shit in it. I go, I want single gene animals and I'll do the work to get where I want to get. They're like, why are you going to waste your time buying that? This thing has 4 more genes and it's only $500 more. I'm like, I don't want all the other genes, man. When I hatch a clutch, I want to know what every animal is. I don't want to label it possible this, possible that, maybe this, kind of looks like that. I really am. That's like a big problem I have with it. That's why with my retics, I've eliminated so many genes from my collection. People will be like, you're fucking stupid. And again, not arrogance. I've made world first. I've fucking paved the way in a lot of different genes in retics that I don't even own anymore because they do not fit the program. And I had to check myself to say, I like this project and I respect it enough to where I will bow out and I want to see people do it. And it's not like, oh, if I didn't bow out, you'd never have been doing it. It's just, I stay in my lane. I just want to stay in my lane. That's it. And I think a lot of people now, because the retic industry is, whether we want to say it or not, it's just behind the ball python industry. With the genes, how some of the genes work, some of the projects, what we're seeing, a lot of it. And I think more retic people now are picking their path. They're on a specific plan. And I think that's where the retic game is headed, where people are going to have more designer, real specific animals that they're working with. And it's kind of refreshing, versus just people trying to breed 2 snakes to hatch whatever they could. There's still those people out there. I mean, everybody has to start with what they got. And
but they got to stick to it. Here's the thing. I'm going to say right now, Shane, the reason why you get hated on so much, not that just based off what you're telling me, is because you keep choosing lanes that people wish they would have chose or wish they could be in. And some people don't even know how you got into that lane. And that's why they're pissed. You know what I'm saying? And bro, you were meant for this shit. And people, it's like, I could tell Shane, like, yeah, you did choose certain projects, but you didn't choose. This life was meant for you. And you can't really explain to people how to get in a lane like yours because it's the way your life was meant to be built. So this whole saying of staying in your lane doesn't mean look at someone else's lane to where it fucks up your own lane and you can't even just fucking stay on a lane. You feel me? Like, just some people need to stay off social media, and because they can't handle other people's success, it fucks them up. They're like, oh man. And it's like, dude, why don't you just be happy for somebody? Like, just fucking, it's gonna happen for you too. Like, people think like they don't get a chance. Like, dude, and that's the thing. Like, it's really childish the way a lot of people carry their emotions when it comes to breeding animals. Like, it's not even about you, dickhead. It's about what you're trying to prove. Like, what are you doing with the animals that you have? Or are you just using them for Instagram photos? Like, what are you really about? That's what I feel like matters versus pain or versus money or anything else, But at the end of the day, Shane, bro, you're doing it. That's all I got to say. And you've been doing it. I'm happy for you.
I'm trying, man. This year is the 7th generation in a specific project that'll be hatching, and not 7 years, 7 generations of hatching, raising, breeding, hatching, raising, breeding. I could tell you every snake, every breeding, every year, with photos to prove it, back it all up since 2012. I have it all traced back, and I did the work. I did my due diligence of outcrossing and bringing in unrelated animals, and and kind of doing like this, like breeding, and coming back, and then breeding, going back. I've outcrossed. I've not just bred the same shit every single year and just whatever. I'm very specific with what I do, and
it should.
brought,
everything should have a plan. It should all be selective.
Yeah. You brought up the haters, and there was one thing I wasn't sure if was going to be brought up on the podcast. So JK Reptiles, Jake.
Jake, shout out to Jake.
Me and him kind of were like it's like one of the first retic guys I really met that me and him clicked real early on. There's quite a few other guys in the retics that I'm real close with, that some of them don't really have too many snakes anymore. We've remained, amazing friends. Paul Lucas is still in the monitor world. These are my boys. I mean, Kenny, Jordan Luck, Eric Lee, which really well.
Eric Lee's bro. That's one friend I've inquired over the last year who actually lives 20 minutes from me. He actually pulled my very first super dwarf clutch while I was gone. Like who else better can pull your first super dwarf clutch? Like if you're not going to be there.
You got to watch me and Eric's year. We got a big fucking race at the end of this year. We're doing in Florida, a 24-hour ultra endurance race.
You do that crazy shit too? You're into that fucking dude. Props to you.
No, me and him, we did 2 World's Toughest together already. Me and Eric.
You guys are weird. That's a whole nother level of like savageness. I'll tell you that right now.
It'll open your world up. That's for sure.
Eric likes pain. I could tell Eric likes pain, and that's the kind of pain I'm talking about. Shit, that kind of shit.
And he's not having fun unless he's suffering. So that's we have a good time, man. We get cut loose together. We have a great time.
If that's not a saying for every retic keeper, I feel like if you really like retics, you're not having a good time unless your ass is sweating or fucking tripping over big retics. You're getting bit. Like you guys. Bro, I mean, I'm not saying right now, I'm not meant for the retic game. I like the super dwarf. I'll be minimal, but the whole mainland, I have a room full of mainlands. I tip my hat to you. You are dedicated. That is not easy to do if you're doing it right. But I will say, man, like, there's not enough people like Jake and yourself. I also feel Matt Bowers, Peach State Pythons is somebody I really look up to. Aaron from Black Diamonds.
Matt needs to grow his mustache back.
That'd be hard. Yeah. But I just feel like I don't know, man. I really hope, because you can look at this 2 different ways. With this U.S. ARC legislations, you do have people that are coming together, and then you do have people who are kind of like, well, this is kind of, you're making this a bigger deal than what it is, and that you've been in this game long enough to where you've seen this kind of thing happen before. You've seen laws crack down, and everyone's like, oh shit, it's like panic mode, but then nothing's happened. You know what I mean? Like, as far as like, I'm not saying that's always going to be the case, knock on wood, you know what I'm saying? No. But I'm just
so you get 2 sides of it. There is people who just don't want to support US ARC, and there's people that do. If you have reptiles, you should support US ARC. I mean, if you are in this and you want to be in this, and you want to be able to say, oh, I want my kids to be in this. I want my grandkids to be in this. I want to be doing this 20 years from now. You have to have more integrity in the industry. Right. Not saying everybody's going to be able to donate thousands of dollars a year, but you've got to be part of it. You've got to make yourself a contributing person to it if you want to see it remain, And I think we've gained more integrity because the heat has been put on, not just for retics, but I think the strong will survive, and I think the strongest keepers and the strongest people with the biggest backbones and most integrity, everybody's band together and stuck through the shit and weathered the storms and kept going. And I think if everybody stays together, I think now who's in the industry, we have a stronger image. So when the people come in, they kind of see that they need to be a higher standard. We've gotten away from the garbage level of people who just are trying to come in and not really be part of the community and part of the industry. They just think I'm gonna come in and make some money and then roll out, you know?
Right.
So I think everyone that's coming into it sees all the big names or sees even the little guys being part of it and being part of, you know, USARC and, you know, an avid part of the community, a positive part. So I think even the new people now know they need to step their game up and be a bigger piece to the puzzle, you know?
Right.
So.
Cool. That's huge, bro. I appreciate it, man. Well, listen, this was a great 2 hours of straight heat, bro. Now it's time for the hot seat questions before we dip out. Are you ready for these hot seat questions?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right, bro. So hot seat questions coming in hot from my boy Shane. Shane, I just need you to bust these out as quick as you can, okay? Be gangster with it. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Coming in hot from my boy Shane. Let's go. Frozen thought or live?
Frozen thawed.
A cut or no cut?
Cutting the eggs?
Yeah. Would you cut an egg or would you not cut it?
I cut the eggs.
All right. Red Chondro Neo or yellow Chondro Neo?
Yellow.
Favorite reticmorph?
Sunfire.
Least favorite reticmorph?
Titanium.
First favorite ball python?
Mojave.
Yay imports or boo imports?
Yay imports.
One reptile you wish you could import today? No, you can't say no, but we're going forward. We're going forward. We're going forward. You can't explain
right.
it. So one reptile you would import today if you could.
Piebald spotted pythons.
Piebald spotted pythons?
Do you say just retics?
No. Anything, any reptile. It doesn't matter.
If I could choose one, I would bring in the piebald children's pythons. They're spotted. I believe they're spotted in children's python cross, but the piebald gene exists in it in Australia.
I did not know that. I was not expecting for you to say that. That's gangster. Respect.
That
Okay.
I would do work on that project.
One reptile we should never import ever again.
I don't even know.
Come on, bro.
I don't know. Pass. I can't even think of one.
Come on. What about all the illegal turtles and tortoises? We don't need those here, bro.
Of course, not any of that stuff. I thought you were talking like a high-end, crazy, like
anything, any reptile. Like what's one reptile we should never import ever again? I always hope people say turtles and tortoises because I love them. They're my favorite. But I'm just saying,
all the endangered turtles and tortoises that are getting illegally brought in is bad. That's bad stuff.
I feel like I forced that one on you. I'm sorry, bro. My bad. Steak or fish?
Steak.
Favorite cut of steak?
Ribeye.
Alcohol or no alcohol?
Alcohol.
Favorite alcohol beverage?
Dang, a truly like the girls.
Damn,
or
bro.
Was
not expecting that.
Not expecting that one.
Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Van Halen.
Sports or no sports?
None. Zero.
Nice. Respect. Almond milk or regular milk?
Whole milk.
Okay. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla. Plain.
God, you're so simple, bro.
Boring.
Let's see. West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
East Coast.
Favorite East Coast rapper or group of all time?
You're gonna kill me. I don't have a favorite. You
gotta have somebody you like. Like, well, there has to be that person that's like, oh yeah, like, okay, turn it up. There has to be. Everybody has that one.
There's not. That's outside of my element now.
This kills me when people say, I mean, I love you, bro. Don't get me wrong. I still think you're gay. This is crazy. Okay, so you're gonna pass on this?
Pass.
Wow.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I hear you. Yep.
All right. Little word association. First thing to come.
Can't hear you again.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Little word association. First thing to come to mind. Cocoa.
Cocoa melon.
Ovulation.
Eggs.
Day 60.
Hatching.
Stuck shed.
Soak it.
Mites.
Trash.
First timer tick keeper.
Go slow.
First timer tick breeder.
Go slower.
Instagram trolls.
Hate them.
If it came down to dedicating yourself to one project and one project only, you have to pick one. Is it going to be monitors or the retics? Which one?
It is going to be purple OGS Sunfire retics.
Over the monitors? God bless. This guy is a fucking real. He's dedicated. Dude.
That's a hard one, man.
I mean,
can I add to that one?
Sure, add. You could add to it.
If you had to make me get rid of every animal in my life except one, I would pick my very first T negative I hatched. I'd keep that.
Respect, bro. Well, listen, what an amazing podcast. You're over with, you nailed the hot seat questions. They are done other than passing on those two, but it's all good, bro. You know the podcast. What do you have to say to everyone showing you love? Well over 60, almost 70 likes, bro, which is well over, more than, this is awesome. Thank you for all the love. But what do you have to say to everyone supporting you out there, everyone who tapped in tonight?
I've had a very warm group of friends and warm welcome into this industry, whether lizards, snakes. I appreciate all the support from everybody. I try to be real all the time. I try to bring as much transparency as I can. And I've always been met with a ton of support. And I like to see winners win. I like to see my friends win. I like to see other people do good. It's nice to feel that love back. Support what you're doing. If you're in this industry and you even are watching this, you clearly know what's going on in this industry. Support USR. Be nice to your other breeders. Give advice. Don't be an asshole. And, again, I really do appreciate the support. I appreciate you getting me on here big time. This is really awesome.
Hell yeah, bro. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. And this will definitely be one of many more episodes where I'll have you on here. I can tell you that much, bro.
Cool.
So I appreciate your passion most and foremost, bro. Just keep that up. Keep inspiring. And like I said, man, I'll be in touch, and I'm sure I'll see you at the next NARBC or something. And yeah, man, we'll definitely hook up, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, bro. Man. Have a good night. Thank you again.
SC Constrictors. That's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Shane.
See you guys.
All right, bro. Have a good night, man. Thank you.
Take it easy.
Fuck yeah, what a guy. Listen, the monitor game and the retic game are in good hands to have somebody like that. That guy is fucking knowledgeable, man. He drops some heat. Again, guys, thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday night or morning, wherever the hell you're at. We get global viewers here, man, and I appreciate all the likes, comments. Please drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you liked most about the episode. And don't forget to hit the like button if you don't mind, okay? Smash that like button for my boy Shane if you like the episode. And shout out to my Patreon members. I will see my Patreon members right now. If you want to tap into the Patreon Zoom session, come join us. Go down to the link below. Click on the Patreon Trap Talk Patreon link, join the Patreon page, and come join the Zoom session. Come meet the family. About to tap in with them right now, man. But you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Is your boy. Oh, wait, hold on. Before I dip out, just so you know, tomorrow I want to say, speaking of Patreon members, I got one of my boys, one of my trappers, coming on the show tomorrow for the New Breeder on the Block series. I had the privilege of meeting this guy and his wife, which they will actually both be on the show tomorrow, based from what I understand. Yeah, they'll both be on the show. So my boy Matt from Ebony and Ivory Reptiles, his wife is Ivory, and they will be on the show tomorrow, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Tap in. He's actually from San Diego originally. We know the boy Mitchy Slick. It's going to be an awesome episode. We already have a lot in common, so I can't wait. So again, go down to the link below, set your reminder, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And again, shout out to my boy Shane. Shout out to anyone out here who came and saw my boy just spit a sick-ass podcast. And yeah, man, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. It's your boy signing out, and I'll see you out.